It's time for the Chapter and Chatter Cafe with Camden County Library District Director, Professor Jim Pasley.
There we go. So, welcome to the latest, the newest Chapter and Chatter. The
Yes.
latest, newest. Yes.
Chapter 11, I think. But we're not filing that.
We're not filing?
We're not
Good.
filing.
My good friend Coli, Creach, and I are going to be talking a little bit about Christmas today, and in particularly the history of Christmas gift giving. You know, all you dads out there, husbands, I know we've still got how many days? We got about four.
You got
4 days.
less than a week.
Yeah,
really.
well,
I mean,
so there's no need to
3
rush.
shopping days. We'll
No
just
need
say
to
3
rush,
shopping
guys.
days.
You know, you got plenty of time yet, but you know, and
As long as you don't order anything offline.
well, yeah, because I did hear this morning that Amazon's out on strike. So, you know,
Oh,
there's-
that's why my stuff's not coming in until January.
that's why your husband was in the panic he was in this morning. You see?
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, but we'll come up with something. you
It'll
know.
be all right. It's
Right.
all good.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Christmas. A lot of interesting traditions, needless to say. And I thought we'd start out just looking at the fact that we celebrate on the 25th of December. Well, why do we do that? You know,
That is a good question.
you know, somebody's got to have a day to figure when we're going to do this. Well, it's a centuries-old tradition, this whole Christmas thing. But a lot of people don't realize it wasn't an official holiday in the United States until 1870. That's right, after the Civil War. And what was interesting is there was a member of Congress, a fellow by the name of Chauncey Cook, and he was in the House of Representatives from Illinois, and he said, we need to have this be an official holiday. And so he proposed it. It went through the Senate in June of 1870, and none other than President Ulysses S. Grant. Grant, of all people, was the fellow that signed into law Christmas. Yeah.
Good man.
So, yes, you know. And so it was kind of an interesting deal because, again, we're coming off of the Civil War, and the North and South were divided on exactly how Christmas should be celebrated. Now, a lot of the North saw Christmas celebrations as being sinful, that, you know, you're losing
can
sight
see
of the
that.
true reason. On the other side of this, it was the South that promoted Christmas big time. They thought it was absolutely, you have to have Christmas. And for that reason, it was Alabama, Louisiana, and Arkansas that passed state laws. They were the first ones to have
Wow.
Christmas, and they did theirs. Alabama was all the way back in 1836.
Nice.
So, you know, kind of an interesting
Yeah.
twist on it. Now, for most people, Christmas is all about the presents, right? And, you know, so we've kind of lost a little bit of, you know,
The
our
sight, the
focus.
true sight,
right.
the-
But, you know, if any of you have been out on, Black Friday?
Yeah, I
Oh,
avoid that.
Good grief. Yes, you know, yes, but it's all about the presents, you know. And a lot of people really don't know the reason why the present thing came into being. And that's a big deal now. You know?
Right. I mean, that's all kind of mostly people focus
Well,
on.
and I don't know about you, but you go
Unfortunately.
to places, you go to the stores, and you know, as soon as Halloween's over, all
Oh,
the
it's
Christmas
not even
stuff
if
is
it's
out.
not even Halloween's over.
Yeah,
Because of what? Halloween comes out in June,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
and
yeah.
then so Christmas follows in September.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I can't keep
Start
track
to,
of it.
I think.
Can't keep
maybe.
track of it. Now, interestingly enough, they're estimating this year that we'll spend somewhere around $900 billion. $900 billion in the United States for Christmas gifts.
900 billion.
$900 billion. Yes.
That's not out of my pocket.
My wife spent about $200 billion of it, I think.
You know, Karen's over there watching this. You know
I
that,
know
right?
she is, but you know,
Sorry,
this,
Karen.
This is my opportunity to get a shot in. You know, so yeah, you know, I don't think my credit card will work anymore.
You're gonna have a cold dinner.
I know.
Just
I
saying.
know. Well, I'm used to it, right? Now, Christians will tell you that we're, you know, doing this to celebrate the birth of Christ, of course, you know. Others will tell you that they're just following a tradition, you
Right.
know, and boy, are we bad about that, you know. Well, we've always done it that way, kind of thing. So That's what happens.
And that's what a lot of people do. It's like, well, we've always done this way. Why
Right.
should we change it?
Right, exactly. You know, and then you get into the whole thing, well, that person has more presents than that person, right? You know, good grief, right?
Yes.
Well, the truth of the matter is that most people really don't care much about the history of Christmas, but you know me, I'm not going to let you get by without having to hear it. So we're going to dive into this.
All right, let's
And it's
go.
a fun story, all right? Now, in early America, there was no Christmas gift giving. None. In fact, the Puritans, the Pilgrims, the people that you'd think, you know,
Would
center around Christmas.
Right.
You know what they did? Banned it. They banned Christmas. You can't have that. On May the 1st, or May the 11th of 1659, the Massachusetts Bay Colony legislature even went so far as to officially draft up a law banning Christmas.
That's kind of a few months away.
Yes, but you know, we need to get ahead of this thing.
I guess so.
Because it's gotten out of control. And I'm just going to read you the notice that they put up in
Alrighty.
the village. It's for preventing disorders arising in several places within this jurisdiction, by reason of some still observing such festivals as were superstitiously kept in other countries, to the great dishonor of God and offense of others. It is therefore ordered that whoever shall be found observing any such day as Christmas or the like, either by forbearing of labor, feasting, or any other way, upon such account of as aforesaid, every such person so offending shall be fined 5 shillings. So not only are we banning it,
But you're going to be fined for
don't let me catch you singing a Christmas carol or baking cookies
Oh,
or any of this sort of stuff.
that's going to be a hardship this year.
Yes, under penalty of 5 shillings, all right? Now, believe it or not, this ban remained in place for 22 years. So, you know, when we think, well, it's a tradition, it's our forefathers. No, our forefathers would give you a fine for doing any Christmas stuff at all, all right? So
That's
you want to talk
mighty
bah
nice of
humbug?
them. No kidding.
Yeah.
So here's the original Ebenezer.
Yes, exactly. Now, needless to say, this lingered well into the 19th century. And a lot of New England kids were required to go to school during the holidays, too. Yes. So kids, no Christmas vacation back then either, right? Now, you have to ask yourself the question, weren't the Puritans Christians? You know, of all things, wouldn't they want to honor the birth of Jesus? Well, of course they were Christians, and they took their faith very seriously, but they also knew their history better than us. So the only people prior to this who had celebrated anything during this period of time were the pagans, all right, back in ancient times. And basically what they did is they had a holiday. This was during Roman times, and it was called Saturnalia. And this Saturnalia was a Roman festival, and what would happen is that on the 17th of December, they would turn around and have festivities. And these would last all the way until the 23rd of December.
Well, I guess it would fall in with the solstice.
Yes, bingo. It had to do with the winter solstice. It also had to do with the fact that all the crops have been brought in, all the harvesting. And so now what you've got is we have all of these rulers in these kingdoms and everything have all of their peasants gathered around their kingdom. It's cold, it's nasty. Most of them are pretty well starving to death.
Right.
And there's a certain amount of unrest. And so these guys got together, these kings, and said, maybe what we ought to do is have a little festival or something just to, you know, keep the troops happy.
You know, that seems to be a repeating pattern through history.
It does it not?
Hey, look, there's people who are upset. Why don't we throw a party?
Let's have a party. And that's exactly what they did, okay? And so what they would do is they would hold a big banquet, and then they would have gift giving. Of course, the gifts then was they give you a bundle of logs that you could, you know, cook so you could keep your little hovel
Hey,
warm.
that's something you can use.
That's right, useful gifts.
Right.
You're
That's what
willing
I-
to try that with your kids this year if you'd like.
They are.
You know,
That's what they're getting.
a
Things
bundle
that
of
they
logs.
No, things that they can use.
Well, uh-huh.
It might be a bundle of logs. My son would appreciate
Sorry,
that.
kids. You know.
Nope, my son is a pyromaniac, so he would love that.
There you go. There you go. See? Well, it was interesting is that they even reversed roles during this time, in that the kings and their lords and everything, when they'd hold the festival, they would serve the tables of the peasants. So, you know, just
I've
to keep them
heard that
happy.
before.
Yes. Don't get any. I'm not serving coffee to you. That's all there is.
I don't
to it.
drink coffee, so you're good.
Yeah, okay, good, good. So bottom line is the Romans had this festival, and they held it at the end of Saturnalia on December the 25th. There's that date,
Gotcha.
okay? And they called it Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, which means the birthday of the unconquered sun, okay? Winter solstice.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, eventually what we see happen is that when the Roman Empire legalized the Christian faith,
Right.
all right? Well, now the problem is that the Christians come in and they're saying, well, we have to do away with our holiday? And
They
so
gotta
there
find
was
a way to adopt
there was
it
a
in.
push by the Roman government to say, okay, we're willing to go ahead and take on this Christianity thing, but you can't just do away with all the holidays and stuff. And so basically what happened under political pressure, they said, church said, we'll go ahead and we'll let you keep the Christmas holiday. And they joined that with the birth of Christ. That's how it came about. But the big pressure on it was, you can't do away with Christmas, you know, or
Right.
Saturnalia. Yeah.
Right.
So kind of an interesting twist, right? Now, basically, in the year 350 AD, Pope Julius I, he said, all right, I'm going to officially decree that Christians should celebrate the day from then on. So it was a compromise between the Roman government and the church. Okay? Now, the only reason why people celebrate the birth of Jesus on the 25th today is because the Catholics of the 4th century wanted to appease the pagan Roman government, which already had a holiday on the 25th. You buying that?
Sure.
It's true. Right?
No, I believe you because
Right.
yes.
Okay. So now, in the Middle Ages, Christmas was a 2-week period of celebration, from Christmas Eve until the 12th night in January. January the 6th is that period of time between Christmas Eve and January 6th, and that's where we got the 12 days of Christmas as well.
Gotcha.
So you can see, this goes way, way back. There's a long, long history of how these traditions came about.
Yes.
Right? And we haven't got to the gifts part yet.
Well, but if you do the 12 days of Christmas, you got a gift for every day.
Yeah, there you go.
You've heard those where they add them up and what it would cost, present day to.
Oh, good grief, yes. Yes.
It's been a while since I've heard that,
Yes.
but I know it gets very expensive too if you were to
Yes.
give somebody those 12 days
I
of
thought
Christmas.
the Lords of Leaping was expensive, but then I saw the 5 golden rings. That really, that did me in.
Yeah,
right?
that would be
right,
it.
Right. Now, basically, during the Middle Ages, this 12 days also was a time of feasting, parties, and of course, giving and receiving presents. All right. Bear in mind, starting out, it was a bundle of twigs or
Right.
sticks or something.
Again,
or,
something that can be used.
Right, or a sack of flour. We've gone a little beyond that now.
Right.
To Xboxes and all that stuff.
Well, it's all stuff that can
Well, yeah.
be used.
Yeah,
whether it's needed or not.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Now, the Christmas gifts would include generous lords giving items such as clothing and firewood. That was the thing.
Yes.
All right. Now, what happens is that we move forward all the way up into the 1800s. All right. And we come
Right.
to America. What happens is the merchants saw that this is an opportunity to maybe make some money. Can you imagine that?
No.
I know. I know. Now, according to historians, advertisements for Christmas presents began appearing in the newspapers, like I say, in the 1820s. And this was just strictly marketing, good old marketing. And you being my marketing manager, yeah, you should know all about this. Now, during the mid-1800s, entrepreneurs seized the opportunity to sell holiday trinkets and gifts in the streets. They had little carts lined up, and you could go along and you could buy little knickknacks and all
Right.
this sort of thing. And children in particular thought this was pretty cool. You know, it's one thing, you know, you drag the kid into the store and they see all that stuff, you know, but you can keep them out of the store. But now
it's
they're
like
all
the
up and down the
streets.
street. You know, it's kind of going to the like going to the candy aisle at the register
Oh,
at the grocery
yes.
store. Well, that's what happened. And all the kids are, you know, I want that, I want
Point of
that.
sales right
There
there.
you go, right. So basically, the children liked this way of Christmas shopping, and it was around 1840 that the first stockings started to get hung by the Christmas, by the hearth, okay?
Right.
And basically, this is according to the Connecticut Historical Society. Basically, Connecticut is where that started, hanging the stockings up. Now, again, I'm going to date myself a little. The stockings in my day, it was filled, it had an orange and an apple, a bunch of nuts, right? There's people here laughing, but
No, I mean,
Yeah.
even with my kids, and my
Yeah.
kids are
yeah, now it's all candy, and there has to be some
Well,
kind of little toy or
okay.
something in there.
I admit we do put the candy in there, but we do put other things that are actually they can use that are small. That
Just to make them mad.
no, that
Oh, yeah, see, yeah.
no, they enjoy
Maybe
it. They
some-
actually enjoy it.
Maybe some socks and underwear would be appropriate.
No, I wrap those.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. See, yeah.
They don't fit in the stockings very well.
So basically, what happened is we start to see these traditions start to come to the forefront. New York's population in the 1800s just explodes tenfold. Between 1800 and 1850, there are 10 times as many people coming in there. And they're all
That's
coming
crazy.
from Europe, and they're bringing all their traditions with them as well, okay? And when they did this, what happened is a lot of those traditions transferred to the U.S.,
Right.
all right? And the same thing of what they called social inversion, there was the situation, again, in the United States in the 1800s, most people lived out on farms, lived in an agrarian type society. There wasn't much manufacturing, so in the off season, you had a lot of people sitting around, okay? And so what we saw is that the poorer people, used to being in Europe where the lord of the manor or the king would come down and give you a gift, they're in some place like New York City and they're saying, nobody's bringing anything, you know? And don't
Right.
these wealthy people
Understand what they
on
gotta do.
Wall Street, you know, you're supposed to be bringing us stuff.
Right.
And so people started going into the streets and basically harassing the wealthy and saying, it's Christmas, you know,
Hello.
you're supposed to be giving me presents. And they, you know, and those guys are
They're
like,
what?
yeah, you're not in Europe anymore,
yeah.
dude, right? Yeah. So basically, you know, you have this congested urban environment and a tradition is going away. It's not being observed the way it was in Europe, okay? Now, what happened is there was some concern amongst the wealthy. They're saying, you know, these ne'er-do-wells are out there not very happy, and the last thing we need is rioting in the streets in the middle of the winter.
Right.
And so we need to do something to try and appease these folks. And a group of wealthy fellows there in New York had a gentleman's club. You know, if you can envision, you know, the leather chairs and smoking a cigar and, you know, talking about the peasants and the money they were making and all. These guys had their little club, just guys.
Just guys.
Yeah. And it was called the Knickerbockers. Now, some of you may have heard of the Knickerbockers. Well, the Knickerbockers thought this might be a good opportunity to make some money because they owned all the stores,
Right.
you know, and they were the wealthy. And so they came up with a new series of traditions, okay? We can't have the same ones they had in Europe, but maybe we'll just create
our-
some here, right? And so that's exactly what happened. Now, what they did is among their rank and file, the members sitting around in their smoking jackets and smoking their cigars, they said, what do you guys think? Well, they had a fellow in their group called Washington Irving, an author, famous author. And he's a well-known member. And they experimented with the idea of something called St. Nicholas Day, all right? Now, basically, there was another member, a fellow by the name of Clement Clark Moore. And he had he had written a book and had all about the traditions of Christmas with a very popular poem It was a visit from St. Nicholas. We know it today as the night before Christmas, okay? So here you have these guys that are writing basically these fiction books about what a wonderful Christmas can be.
Right.
And these marketing managers said, there it is. And so they adopted all the traditions in the books and now promoted it there in all of the wealthy cities, okay? All the urban areas. Now, the St. Nicholas that Moore presented in his famous poem was like other traditions that the Knickerbockers borrowed and transformed. In other words, St. Nicholas was very popular throughout Europe.
Right.
Well, we adopted him and brought him here.
Yes.
Okay? Somebody needs to tell everybody about Santa Claus.
That's right.
And these guys did. Okay? Now, St. Nicholas, of course, Santa Claus, we all know, brings presents to kids, the good little boys and girls.
That's right.
Okay? And naturally, the department stores were more than happy to help out, with, more presents, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're going to get your presents from Santa Claus, but, hey, Mom and Dad,
Yeah.
Santa brought some stuff. What
Where's
about you
mine?
guys? Exactly. And so they picked up on that, and now they're saying, this is what you need to be doing, all right?
Thank you.
And by the early 1900s, newspapers carried page-one stories about Santa and his sleigh bringing gifts at Christmas.
I always like doing the NORAD tracker.
There you go.
With the kids.
Yes, okay. So all the kids, know that if they're good, they're going to get their presents, right?
That's right.
And it's on the front page of the paper. How do you
How
deny
can
that?
you? Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Well, there were some holdouts, saying, it's Santa Claus and buying, Santa's already bringing you stuff. Why should I have to buy his stuff too?
All right,
Well,
Ebenezer.
around this same time, here comes another famous book. Okay,
That's right.
And being a librarian, here we are talking about books. There was this author, this guy Charles Dickens, and Charles Dickens wrote this book called A Christmas Carol, which is one of my favorites.
It is a good one.
It is. I love it.
It's very good.
And now what happens is they've got what they needed to counteract these parents that are holding out and not wanting to buy additional gifts.
You got your villain.
Ebenezer Scrooge, right? Yes, you don't want to be a Scrooge.
Bah humbug.
You're right. And so now, the marketing angle on this is, well, by golly,
Don't be a Scrooge.
that's right. You have all these great stories, all this, festival, everything's going on, and, there's a guy by the name of Ebenezer Scrooge. Do you really want to be that
Yeah.
guy?
No.
No. And if you don't, it would be wise to get downtown and get to this store. We're having a special on
Change
toys.
your
Yes.
change your mode of thought there.
Exactly. So it seemed to work fairly well.
Kind
Okay.
of like the Grinch.
So Santa and the family rituals and the desire to be generous have helped to make this the most giving time of the year. Like I say, the average customer right now spends around $1,000 at Christmas. That's average.
Yeah, I'm not average. Sorry, kids.
Really?
I'm not. No.
Sticks?
No, I'm not
What are you
exactly
saying? You do a
sticks.
little better?
Everybody gets cookies. Everybody gets a lot of cookies, and then
Gosh.
really,
I need to have my wife sit down with you. We're
hey,
gonna-
it's our thing. Is it's what you can. Most of the time, we try to make something and then give it to the kids. We do buy them things, but it's stuff that they may need. It's not stuff that
a bundle of sticks again.
pretty much.
I see. Okay.
But it can be used all year long.
All right. You just sit there for a minute, Ebenezer. You'll be all right. Okay? Now,
Who are you calling a Scrooge?
hey, Now, what happens is we get this dialogue between consumers and merchants, if you will. All right? And like you said, now it starts in September, right?
More than likely,
Right.
yeah. It's about usually
Now-
when I start seeing stuff hit.
Not being happy with the way things are going and wanting to make even more money, people started wrapping gifts, all right? And I don't know how many of you have gone out and bought cards or wrapping paper, all of that. That's quite an industry in itself, right? Now, it used to be that you just took the gift and said, here, Coli, here's your present. You didn't
that's-
wrap it or nothing. There was no surprise to it.
That's
And
all right.
so we now
sometimes.
promoted the fact that, if you hide it in wrapping paper, It adds to the festivities.
The sparkles, the bows, and
Yes,
the prettiness.
yes, exactly. Now, this is
As long
something.
as I didn't wrap it.
Yes, and I will speak for most guys out there. Wrapping presents is not our forte, right?
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I do mine on Christmas Eve usually.
Well, there you go. There you go. See? So basically, wrapping also helped designate this thing as it truly is a gift.
Right.
Even if it is a bundle of sticks, it's so much nicer when
when
it's
it's wrapped up.
Wrapped up, you know. Yeah, a nice ribbon on it, you know. A housewarming gift. if
That's
you will,
right.
Right? Yeah. Now, large stores started having, gift wrapping sections. They would wrap it for you, okay? And so all of that became an industry in itself. And over time, Christmas gifts came to be associated with Santa himself because all of his gifts as well always came wrapped up.
Yes.
All right? So you wrapped yours as well. All right?
Yep.
You want to be like Santa if you can, not Ebenezer. Right?
Oh, come on now.
Now, there is one thing that I've always scratched my head about, and that's Black Friday. All right? And I know a lot of you ladies have been out, you know, and drug your husbands along. Well,
It's
I don't
usually the
know.
opposite in our house.
Our clan went all the way. They shopped at this place. There wasn't anything left at the lake, and then they went to Branson and finished them off. So, you know.
See, they're doing what they can.
Yes, on Black Friday.
No.
Now, what's interesting is Black Friday started with a very fascinating situation, in that it really didn't have much to do with the gifts as much as it started in Philadelphia, and this was in the 1960s. 1960s, all right? And what happened was, in Philadelphia, every year, right after the day after Thanksgiving, everybody came out of the woodwork and went shopping for Christmas gifts.
You
all
only
right?
have, what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of that?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you have a month.
You have a month.
Technically.
Yeah, but here they all flocked to the streets, and the cab drivers dreaded it because back then, you know, we didn't have the highways that we've got now.
No.
And, you know, and so everybody came to town to buy all the Christmas stuff, and the cab drivers and the bus drivers called it Black Friday because you couldn't get anywhere. You're stuck in traffic all day long.
You know.
And so they would say, oh, good grief, Black Friday's coming, all right? And so that's how it originally got its name. Now, some people considered Black Friday to be the time when, if you're an accountant, you're keeping the ledger, stuff that's in red, you know,
Yes,
the debt,
debt
and in black meant you're
doing good.
You're doing good. And a lot of people contended that's where it came from, that's when the merchants finally made it over the hump and they were making a profit and everything was entered as black.
They can
But
at least make it through the winter.
yes, the truth of the matter is traffic jams.
Gotcha.
Yes, so I thought that was kind of an interesting deal just in itself.
So, it is.
And I've been in several of those, you know. In fact,
Traffic jams or?
traffic jams, yes. And you know,
It happens every day around
the
here
ladies
anymore.
in my family, when they went to Branson, they went to the mall down there and they sat in traffic for 3 hours getting to the mall.
No.
Black Friday.
No.
See? You're right. So there you have it, right? Now, it was interesting in that some people, still holding out, said, you know, I think it's just ridiculous that everybody's emphasizing these presents all the time. That's, you know, there's more to Christmas than that. And so, sure enough, in 1912, the progressives got together, a whole bunch of them, and they established the Society for the Prevention of Useless Gift Giving. Yes.
Can
It
we
was called
reinstate that?
it was called SPUG. Look it up. Get on Google and look up SPUG, S-P-U-G, the Society for the Prevention of Useless Gifts and Gift Giving. Now, its goals were to curtail the presentation of what they called gimcracks back then, which was showy but shoddy presents. What was happening?
Gimmicks.
Yes. Well, the bottom line is, you know, you've got, you know, Aunt Ethel shows up, who you see once a year.
Yeah.
And you could really care less about getting her a nice present. So, you know, that last minute shopping that you had was, here's the aisle over here with the $5 gifts.
Yes.
Okay. And everybody's
The
looking
blanket.
like, well, I'd never do that, right?
It's the wrapped up blanket.
Or the little, you know, tin type bracelet.
yes.
Those sort of things.
Yes.
Yes. Well, those were gimcracks.
There you
And
go.
so they said, you know, people are just buying this stuff just because they don't want to be an Ebenezer. And so this society comes together and says, we're going to stop this, all right? And They said that basically what happened is that these merchants were extorting people. You know, you don't want to, you know, if you don't give Aunt Ethel a gift, then obviously shame on you.
Right.
So it's kind of a form of extortion if you're not giving the presents.
So they're guilting
right?
you into...
Guilting you into doing it, right? Now, the general success of the progressives reforming Christmas, as well as the previous efforts to mold the festivities, shows that the celebration can indeed be changed. If need be, you can do it,
There is a revamp.
but good luck. I don't see how it'll ever happen. I don't know
No.
how you'll ever turn the tide. So basically, when you hear people talking about how Christmas has spun out of control, right, and that merchants are dictating the behavior of us out here in the shopping world, you know, understand it's not anything new.
No.
You can go all the way back to the Knickerbockers.
We
who
can thank
turned
them for
around
that.
and said, yes, you can thank them, these marketing gurus who really were.
No, you're giving marketers a bad name here.
I'm trying. I'm doing the best I can, yes. And so bottom line is that, you know, they got everybody in the mode of if you spend more money, you're more and more, you know, a wonderful person. You spend less money, you're an Ebenezer. All right? So
Well,
give
I
that
guess
some
I might
time.
be an Ebenezer then.
There's still time. You can go with your husband. He hasn't bought anything yet.
Yes,
go
he has.
shopping with him the last 4 days, and he'll help you out.
Oh, no. We're good.
All right. Okay, good, good. So basically, you know, we kind of find ourselves stuck in the mercy, if you will, of the merchants and the promotions of the holidays. I myself kind of like it. You know,
It's
I
fun.
think it's fun.
It is
you
fun.
know.
It's
a
fun.
great tradition, and you know,
I always like to see the kids' eyes on
Yes,
Christmas morning, especially when mine were
absolutely.
younger. That was the fun part. Is
absolutely
Seeing their eyes light
seeing
up.
the kids light up.
Yes.
It is
And be
great.
excited.
You know, and for those of you that are active in all the civic organizations down here, the lake area is wonderful. Absolutely, probably the best place I've ever lived, where they go out and provide gifts for kids in need.
Yes.
And we have a lot of fun with it ourselves. We're with several organizations and get to go out and give gifts, and it is. It's a
fun.
great tradition. You know, I wish it was Christmas year round, to be honest with you. So, bottom line is, it's a fun time of year, and I want you all to enjoy it. That's all I have. Merry Christmas.
That's all you got?
What about here at the library?
Well, we've got a couple of things. We did actually call the North Pole.
Did you?
We got a hold of the big guy himself,
Thank goodness.
right?
Yes.
So he's going to make a couple appearances here at our libraries.
Good.
The first one is going to be actually tomorrow. Him and Mrs. Claus will be here, and they'll do a story time. Actually, they're going to read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
I may have to take you up there and have we'll have an intervention.
There we go.
We'll help you. All
Will
right?
you?
Yes.
So families are invited to join us here at the Camdenton Library, starting at 4 o'clock.
Great.
We'll do story time. Actually, pretty much where we're set up here, we'll revamp things and have Santa and Mrs. Claus here. They'll read their story, and then afterwards, parents and families are more than welcome to sit with Santa and Mrs. Claus, and we'll take your pictures, and then we'll email them out to everybody. So,
Yay.
and then I think we're going to do some cookie decorating too. So,
Good deal.
you know, bring the kids in, get them all excited about Santa, and then feed them sugar.
Yay. Well, I've heard that Santa kind of likes those cookies too.
Yes.
So, good move.
Right? Then on Saturday, December 21st, local author Emmy, I'm going to probably butcher the last name, I apologize, Weyerbacher?
Weyerbacher.
She's a local author. She'll be at the Stoutland Library at 10 a.m. She'll be talking about the books that she's published, her works in progress, her writing process, and the publishing journey that she's been on. She is an essayist, poet, and inspirational romance author who loves tall pines and even taller cups of coffee. So that's something
Excellent.
to look forward to. Then, like I said, Santa and Mrs. Claus are going to visit Max Creek Library as well. He'll be there for cookies.
Yay.
Right? So I think he's going to do a story time there as well. And that
Good.
kicks off at 10 a.m. at the Max Creek Library.
And that's on the 21st?
That's on the 21st
Great.
of December. Yep, Saturday.
Yeah, great.
Then, one of our biggest traditions at our house, we always watch the Polar Express for Christmas. We're not going to be showing the movie at Osage Beach Library on Monday, December 23rd, but they'll be reading Chris Van Allsburg's book, The Polar Express.
Excellent.
Kids are invited to wear their pajamas, bring in their favorite stuffed animals, and have hot cocoa while we read the story. And I think they're going to do a craft with that as well.
Great.
So it'll be fun.
I love that show.
I do too. That's one
Yeah.
of our favorites. We always watch it every year.
Great.
Then we're going to be closed a couple of days.
Really?
I know. I hate to tell you that.
Yay.
We get a couple of days off.
Wow.
Yep. December 24th.
Yeah?
I think.
Oh,
Woo!
thank God she didn't say Saturnalia. Yes, you know.
I could have. December
Right.
24th and 25th.
Yay.
We will be closed for the Christmas holidays.
Good.
But we'll be back open the 26th at 9 a.m.
Great.
And on a quick note, Stoutland Library will be closing at noon on Saturday, December 28th.
Okay.
So
Good.
instead of 1 that day. And then we'll be closed again. We're going to close early on December 31st at 3 p.m. All of our branches will close at 3 p.m. and then we'll be closed for New Year's Day. So we'll see everybody back here the 2nd.
So for New Year's, us old folks can
Sleep.
have dinner at 4 and be in bed by 7.
I'm all for that.
You know, we can always tape it and see it
Later, right?
Or you know, I found out now that they show like Australia at 6 in the evening. And
Hey, I can handle that one.
works for me. Yeah, that works.
I can do that
There
one.
you go.
I can
Good.
stay up for that one.
Yeah, great.
Then adults 19 and older are invited to the Osage Beach Library on Friday. January 10th. I
Yes.
am,
You'll be all right.
is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
At 3 p.m. This is the one you had a question about, Jim.
I did.
This
I
is
did.
the salt shaker tassels.
Yes.
That's what these look like. This is the one that Shauna did.
I like it.
Isn't that cute?
Yes.
So what they do is they take the ceramic salt shakers and then they take ribbons and yarn and different things and like wrap wire around it and feed it up through the salt shaker holes and then put beads on it and then wrap that wire around so that way you can hang it from your lamp or a cupboard
Or a fan.
or a fan.
Cool.
You could hang it from a fan.
All right.
Registration for this event is required, and registrations can be made by calling the library at 573-348-3282, visiting our calendar of events, and I forgot to put the link in the description below, but we'll be adding that. So that
Good.
I need to remember to do that. And then, depending on how flexible you are, you can do yoga at the Osage Beach Library. Just
I could do most of those moves, but it's getting back up afterwards that's a real problem.
We'll get you some chair yoga. There is the chair yoga. That would be, I could probably handle that one right about now. See,
Yeah.
There's always something that we can revamp.
All right.
But anyway, the Osage Beach Library is offering Hatha Yoga and Yoga Nidra meditation.
Huh.
Starts at 6:30 on Wednesdays, starting January 8th. And you do need to register for this one as well because the space is limited
Okay.
for that. And those will be led by Master Yoga Instructor Linda Garcia. If you have your own yoga mat, you do need to bring that. Same with yoga blocks. I've never even heard of using yoga blocks before. And then an eye mask or an eye pillow for the meditation part of it. Because it's different than regular meditation.
We aren't going to have goats, are we?
Hey, I think that would be cool.
I'm sorry I even said that. But last time I saw anything about yoga, there were goats involved. And
I think
thought,
that would be fun.
Oh, yeah. It'd be clean up on aisle 4, too, right?
You do it outside. You have your yoga mats outside, and then you have the goats. I think we need to find a goat farm now.
I'll leave that to you. All right.
All right.
All right.
You didn't hear him say no, people.
No, I didn't say no. That could be interesting. Yes, stay tuned. Right?
Stay
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
We'll film it.
Right.
Film at 11.
We couldn't get any goats, so we have 10 chihuahuas we're going to use instead.
I'd rather have the St. Bernards.
Not in yoga, you wouldn't. Yeah, right.
Well,
So-
if he's anything like my St. Bernard, he
Well, there
just
you go.
lay there and be good,
There you go.
right?
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all I've got.
That's
except
all
for-
we have?
I think so.
Great, great.
Except for our next episode.
Well, folks, it's been fun, and we will be continuing these into the next year. trying to toy around with a couple of ideas for our next month's show. May have to talk about the powers of the federal government, since we're going to have a whole lot of changes coming. That might be an interesting topic.
That'd be interesting because our next show is Thursday, January 16th.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
8 a.m.
All right, we may
right
do
here.
that. We have a question. Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
The Missouri and the Civil War, I think we did a
Oh,
nest, and I thought, oh, that sounds so interesting.
Okay. The request was maybe something on Missouri and the Civil War, and that's a great suggestion because boy, there was a lot of history right here. I mean, right here.
well, we had what, blue something. I was here and now it's gone. That's usually how it works around here.
Yes. But we have there are
The battlefield or whatever.
Yes, there's battlefields all around here. All kinds of interesting folks involved from Missouri. Things called provost marshals and some interesting people like a governor who was married 4 times, and to each one of them to a different sister in the same family. Kind of interesting.
Henry VIII,
yeah.
is he?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so there's some stories there too. So yeah, we'll put that on our list as well. Okay. Thank you. That's a great suggestion. Any others? No? Well, then I'm going to take the opportunity to say Merry Christmas
Merry
to
Christmas.
everybody, and thank you for tuning in. Please share with your friends what we're doing. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.